Hello and welcome to the wonderful world of English language classroom. Learners of class 12. Today we will do a lesson, the first lesson, which is ironically titled as the lost lesson in your textbook Flamingo. Learners, you have come across a variety of texts in class 11, short stories, biographies, autobiographies, travelogues, and nice poetry, different manner. We will further explore, venture into various and diversified texts in class 12 with the purpose of acquiring language in natural context. When I say natural context, this text, the stories are going to help you work with, engage with language. So, in this context, we have a short story today, very moving, heart moving short story titled as Lost Lesson, which is situated during the Franco-Prussian War. You must be wondering what is Prussian War. We will come to that later. Before we get on to the lesson and learn to read and learn some vocabulary and other aspects, learners, before we get on to the lesson, let me introduce your co-learner Devyani.
Hello.
So, Devyani and learners, how do you feel?
I am feeling good.
Fine, fine. Okay, we also feel good, and we assume that learners also feel good at this point of time. Learners and Devyani, let me ask you some embarrassing situations, not so embarrassing, so not so good situations. The first and foremost, all of a sudden you are taken to a place where nobody speaks your language or the languages you know. So, how do you feel?
I will feel lost and weird, of course, and it will be really hard for me to communicate to people.
And it will be very uncomfortable. Yes. Fine, fine. Okay. The second situation, how do you feel on the first day of joining an office? Your class 12 children, maybe after some years you will be going to do some job, or at the university, you go to the university, then how do you feel on the first day which you do not know anyone, you all of them are strangers to you?
I will start a conversation with anybody, with someone, to be honest, and yeah.
Fine, all right. And these are the very difficult times we are made to confined in, at home. So, and there are occasions we had to be alone at home for hours together, and you feel like not reading anything, watching TV also. How do you feel?
I actually enjoy myself alone at home, so I don't have problem.
You don't get bored. That's a good thing. That thing, you have to learn to be alone. The times are not so easy. Fine. Another thing, you must have read that Robinson Crusoe, heard of the story. He was left in an island for so many years. Then he loses his speech because he has nobody to converse with. Then he starts reading the Bible, and at last he lost his speech.
Yes, yes.
So, that's another extreme of the situation. All of a sudden, I do not want that to happen. Your area is occupied by somebody, colonized by somebody, the way the British did to us, or the British did to the Europeans did to the Americans or Africans. All of a sudden, someone comes on your land and imposes his or her language. How do you feel?
It will be really bad. I will not feel good.
Yes, so nobody will feel good. So, your language is snatched away. Yet another situation, Devyani and learners, all of a sudden you are stranded in a foreign country without money. What will you do?
I don't know.
You don't know. Learners, think of such situations. We know we have seen during this corona virus invasion that many people were stranded. They had money, but they could not buy anything. Yes. They could not move around. So, we have seen that. There are situations which might arise in any situations. So, why I am saying all these kind of situations, Devyani and the learners there, this story, the lost lesson, makes a group of people in a part of France all of a sudden to lose their language. Lose their language means their language will not be taught in school, their language will not be used for administration. So, all of a sudden they have the language, but that has no value. So, let us look at how people manage the situation. So, learners, let us also know why this happened, such situation. This story sets in 18 the story sets in 1870-71, when the world was 19th century completely different. It was the first world war and second world war that almost redrawn the European map. So, this was a war between France and Prussia. So, what do you understand by Prussia?
It is a country's name.
It is a country's name. Where is it?
It's the old name of France.
Old name of Germany, not France. Okay, it was the Prussian Empire which became United Germany under the leadership of the king and the Bismarck, who was called that Iron Man. Yeah, the Iron Man. Then the nation states were being formed, and in the 19th century, 18th century, there were no nation states like France, England, India, Pakistan. So, we call them in political science, or historically we call them nation states. A nation is defined after the Second World War very well in the form of nationality, language, culture, religion. This was a war between France and the erstwhile Germany, that was part of Prussia. There, all of a sudden, a part of France was invaded by the Prussians. Then the notice was circulated, order was issued that from henceforth, now onwards, your language will not be used in the classroom. So, French will not be taught in your area. So, here is the map of the Prussian war, learners. You can see the Prussian map, Franco-Prussian war map. So, the part of France was invaded by the Prussians. So, this is for your historical understanding. The map is there in your textbook, you can refer to it, or from the library you can refer to it. Now, let us pick up each phrase one after another and learn it by using them in context. So, I am not going to give you this is the meaning of those phrases, that is easy to give, but it will not remain. Learners, let me tell you one thing on Devyani. If you use a word, new word, when you come across 7 to 10 times in meaningful context, then only you can learn the word. So, this is what acquisition of words. Let me tell you the example of you start playing as a child, even now the video game. First time, instead of securing 1000 points, you may secure not even 100, then many attempts, then you are using it many a time in context, then at one point of time you reach it. So, this is how this is true of language, you have to use it for purposes, with purposes, then only you will learn. Okay. Come on, let us pick up the first one, in great dread of. So, I am going to ask you to read them in context. Come on, read Devyani.
The class was in dread of Hamel's iron ruler. He was in great dread of being caught by his mother for playing video games. She has been delaying her work and is in great dread of getting scolded.
Fine. Look at the usage, in great dread of, learners and Devyani. Let me read out. The class was in great dread of Mr. Hamel's iron ruler. So, he kept a ruler in his hand, but he never used it, but it itself is. So, what does it mean? They were scared of it. Fine, all right. Look at the second sentence. He was in great dread of being caught by his mother for playing or while playing the video games. Fine. So, he was scared of the mother being, she will catch him. Fine. Then she has been delaying her work as she is in great dread of getting scolded. So, there is a kind of fear when we say in great dread of, dread. So, the author could have used in great dread of, instead of this phrase he would have used fear or scared of, but he has used this particular phrase to convey the meaning that children, the learner, particularly this particular this boy, Franz, was scared of because he was never doing his homework. So, learners, let us use appropriate words for appropriate to convey appropriate meaning. That is the idea. Look at the next one, Divya, and learners, let me read out to you. You have plenty of time, but make use of it well. You had plenty of time before your assignments, but you could not spend it right. Third, do not say there is no time, there is plenty of time if you do a work on time. So, learners, we need not explain this, plenty of time. So, time can be measured in hours, minutes, days and weeks. So, plenty of time refers to what? It is a kind of abstract measurement, no, noun. So, lot of time. So, learners, this is what need to understand, we will use it in sentences later. Come on, learners, great bustle. Divya, you will be reading out 3 sentences there.
There is always a great bustle in our neighborhood. A lot of children playing in the park. There is a great bustle all the time. Why is there a great bustle in the class?
Fine. So, what does it mean in great bustle?
Crowd and with noise and
lot noise, fine. So, it is a typical example of any classroom in the world.
Yes.
There are lots of 20-30 children, there will be some jokes, humor, laughing, this that. So, great bustle, we got that meaning in unison. So, let me read out, learners, Devayani. All students in unison wanted the test to be postponed. So, it is quite natural when it comes to examination, children are together. So, all students in unison wanted the test to be postponed. Mean what does it mean? In one voice?
Yeah.
In
They
one,
all wanted
together. They all said in unison, we will learn our languages first. Meaning?
that they all want to.
Yeah, in one voice they said. Yeah. So, learners, the next one, Devayani will read. Thumbed at the edges.
This book very old. You can see it is thumbed at the edges. You have soiled your papers and it is thumbed at the edges.
Fine. Thumbed, sometimes thumbed at the edges, learners, you know that you use the book quite often, particularly textbooks when you carry school. At the end of the corners of the book, you will see that some edges. So, folds. So, that is what thumbed at the edges. We can also use it figuratively. How there are lots of thumbed at the edges in his life. When you say that, so lots of problems. So, he is very old and lot of experienced person. So, let me read out again. Let me ask you to read out. Come on, the book is very old. Come on.
This book is very old. You can see it thumbed at the edges. You have soiled your papers and it is thumbed at the edges.
Okay, it has got soiled and the edges are, means it shows that it is much used. Come on, learners, and the next one, reproach ourselves with. No one else to blame, we have to reproach ourselves with for our actions. Many of our languages are endangered. We need to reproach ourselves with for this development. So, what is that? Some actions we can't blame others, we have to blame ourselves. So, that is what many Indian languages are in danger, like many tribal minor languages. So, whom to blame? We ourselves have to blame, because we do not teach them in school. So, same way some of our actions we only have to blame ourselves. Learners and Devayani, now we have seen a lot of phrases. So, we are going to use them, I am going to ask you to use them in sentences, and there are two phrases given to you at a time. You will have to select and the appropriate one and use its sentences. Come on, use the phrases in great dread of and in unison in the following sentences. Come on, the world is dash, the world is in dash a dangerous virus.
The world is in dread of a dangerous virus.
The world is in
The world is in the dread of a dangerous virus.
The phrase is the great dread of.
The great dread of. Okay.
Say it
The
again.
world is in great dread of a dangerous virus.
Okay, fine. All the participants dash greeted the leader.
All participants in unison greeted the leader.
All the participants in unison greeted the leader. Fine. The rabbit was dash of being hunted by the tall man.
The rabbit was great dread of being hunted by the tall man.
Use the phrase incomplete. The rabbit was
in great dread of being hunted by the tall man.
Fine, all right. The members of the board dash took a decision to move the company to another place.
The members of the board in unison took a decision to move company to another place.
Move the company to another place. Fine. Now, learners, in great dread of is completely scared of, in unison is
Together.
together, all together in one decision or one voice. Come on. Now, learners and Devayani, let us use two more phrases, a great bustle and tumbled on the edges, and I am going to read out the sentences, you will have to pick up from them. Okay. There is always dash in the tea stall.
There is always a great bustle in the tea stall.
It is a common Indian scene. Okay. Do not give the book to a younger brother, he will make the book get.
Don't give the book to your younger brother, he will make the book get tumbled on the edges.
He will use it his own way. Fine. Okay. Now, my classroom is always dash till the teacher enters.
My classroom is in always a great bustle till the teacher enters.
Okay. Dash of a document tells how old it is.
Tumbled on the edges of a document tells you how old it is.
Fine. Okay. Now, the next two phrases, reproach ourselves with and a great bustle. We have seen great bustle, then but it is coming again. Come on. Now, let me read out the sentences for you. We have to dash of our actions against environment.
We have to reproach ourselves with for our actions against environment.
Again.
We have to reproach ourselves for our actions against environment.
Fine. A happy place is always with.
A happy place is always with a great bustle.
Fine. We need not dash for we have not violated any law.
We need not reproach ourselves with for we have not violated any law.
Fine, good. There was dash as the actor entered the stage.
There was a great bustle as the actor entered the stage.
Fine. They are the wrongdoers and they have to.
They are the wrongdoers and they have to reproach
Themselves. Fine. All right, learners, we need to use the words, the phrases in context many a time in order to learn them. When you read again the text, notice these phrases and also our exercises again, and you try to use them in your writing and speech. Learners, we have seen and learnt a set of phrases in great dread of, in unison, thumbed on the edges. There are many such things, and there in English language, in any language for that matter. We need to notice it when you read and use it for purposes. This is how language is acquired, and today you have acquired these phrases besides the overall understanding of the story. And let us do it. I am going to throw a challenge at Devayani. The summary we narrated is there in strips here. There are lots of strips, the summary we narrated, there are 17, and she will be arranging it in coherent order. That will say, that will tell us whether she has really understood the story when she has read it. This is what you are also expected to do, learners. Fine, we do it. come to the close of this lesson. Before I close and thank all of you, let me tell you some of the facts about languages and language situation in this country, India, our country. India is the most linguistically diversified country. Why I am drawing your attention towards this? You know that how the French people felt when their languages were done away with, discontinued in the school during 1870 and 71 during the Franco-Prussian war. That was for only 1 year. So, let us look at the language situation in India. This I am saying you, giving you some information in order to ask you to do some project work and have an understanding of how Indian language situation is. Okay. Learners, you can see it on the screen. India now has 121 languages and 270 mother tongues. This is based on 2011 census. 5 different language families, which is not there in any of the countries. 5 language India has 5 different language families, namely Indo-Aryan, Dravidian, Austro-Asiatic, Tibeto-Burmese and Semito-Hamitic, and this is spread across the country. 1971 census listed 1652 languages. Learners, see that now we are saying that 121 languages, because that means many languages have passed away, passed out of our lives or passed away. Learners, People's Linguistic Survey of India has identified 780 languages, of which 50 are extinct during the 5 decades. This People's Linguistic Survey of India is conducted by independent agencies, NGOs, non-governmental organization, and it was headed by Professor G. N. Devi, and they brought out these facts. And let us look at what Indian Constitution says and does to languages. Indian Constitution, the Constitution of India recognizes 22 languages as official languages of this country. There are, we said 121 languages, but only 22 are recognized. 82 languages are used in print media, 71 languages are used on radio. Indian administration means the state administration and central government administration is conducted in 15 languages. Indian currency is printed bilingual in Hindi and English, and it has its denomination mentioned in 15 languages only, not even 22 languages. You must have seen that the denomination in the 500 rupee, 100 rupee, 200 rupee notes, only 15 languages are mentioned. So, 42 languages are used as medium of instruction in schools. Learners, believe it, 20 years ago 60 languages were used as medium of media of instruction, that means to teach learn languages subjects in school. Now, it is 47. So, this information is given to you learners to draw your attention that how languages of the world, many languages of the world are in danger, and some languages like English or French, the colonial languages, colonial power language, they are dominating in the name of knowledge languages. So, we need to protect our languages. So, based on which learners, let us do a project, go collect data information about languages in India and present it to the whole class and write some sort of report how each. I said that there are 5 language families: Dravidian, Indo-Aryan, Austro-Asiatic, Tibeto-Burmese and Semito-Hamitic. So, how these languages are, you can draw a big picture of it and present to the class. This is a project work you may attempt. Another project work, if you are interested, you have to explore with the history teachers, political science teacher, what led to the Franco-Prussian war of 1870 and 1871 and how Germany emerged. It is a kind of some facts and figures, this you can do. So, the question which may arise in your mind is, how to do a project work. So, there is a video lesson on that. You may just click the link available to you on NROER, NCERT's National Repository of Open Educational Resources and ePathshala, and you can also find it on Diksha portal. This appears on your screen, and you can learn how to do project work, how to collect data and collocate it, write it and present to the classroom. Learners, thank you very much for having participated in all the activities of this first lesson, that is the last lesson of class 12. Let me also thank Devayani
Thank you. We will meet again.
for her participation. We will meet you in the part 2 of this lesson. Thank you very much.